Golden hour. Let's see. There she is. She wants to brood. Pains me to remove her eggs. When I saw that she was brooding, I can't even describe the feeling I had. It was just a very deep, quiet kind of joy. I don't know if you could hear that on the camera, but I think it was the cockerel trying to shag one of the hens. Probably the one that's broody. Can you hear that? No, I don't mean the cockerel. The bees in the apple tree. Well, yeah, the feeling when I noticed that Vifta was brooding. We've only had chicks 1 year, and that was last year. Vifta was one of the chicks, and Oscar the cockerel was the other one. We only had 2. We've had a heritage breed of chickens up until fairly recently, and they very rarely brood, and that's a problem with preserving this heritage breed from extinction, is that they have a very low drive for brooding. So we didn't have any chicks with them, and now, yeah, last year was the first time that a chicken decided to brood. And it's just the coziest, most wonderful and amazing thing. I think it awakens that childhood wonder in me, that as a child I, just like now I guess, loved animals, and it's just one of those miracles of life. A chicken laying on eggs and them hatching and little chicks coming out. It's just such a simple and natural and common thing, but it's still yeah, just amazing. And I would have loved allowing Vifta to brood and have chicks, but just checking on the plants here. They seem to be doing fine. I watered them this morning, so I don't think they'll need more water. Oh, look. An old hornet's nest. Hive? Nest? Hive? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we're planning a move, and hopefully this is going to be the last summer we spend here. Hi, by the way. Welcome back. I didn't do an introduction. I'm still super uncomfortable making introductions. I'm glad you're here. It's now evening. It's about 7 p.m. I think. baby's asleep, me and Johnny have had some dinner, and now I got to go out in the garden to sit down and have a little chat with you. Today is April 25th, and baby girl woke up today with 4 teeth. Yesterday she only had 3. It's a nice sunny day. It's not super warm yet, it's just after lunch, and very white. I didn't mean that the way it sounded, like I was bragging about being white. That was weird. We are going to hang up some laundry. So next thing on the list is to pick some herbs. There aren't that many growing yet, but there are a few, and I want to make some herb salt. And one thing that we do have in abundance is garlic leaves, and I'm now going to try using them in a herb salt, because I've never done that before, I don't think. And, I mean, garlic salt. Sounds great. So these are garlic leaves. And as you can see, there's plenty of it. Could have used a knife or something bigger than this. But whatever. Let's go into the main kitchen garden. My most recent project in here is to use the grow box that I showed you. By the way, I don't even know if it's called a grow box. I've called it that for many years because it's called that in Swedish. But I don't know if you actually say grow box in English. But yeah, the one that I painted red earlier is now there. At the far end, just in front of the hedge. I'm gonna move it because I want it to be so that it's just a straight line and that it's in the middle. Here are some other things to harvest. One thing is nettles, which I have growing in a veg bed. I'm going to move them because I want to keep them. It's extremely useful to have nettles in the garden because I eat them and make tea and stuff. But I don't want them in the veg bed, so they will have to move. This is where they are now. I've already managed to sting myself. I just sat down on my knees on the nettle. The next thing I'm going to harvest is parsnip leaves, because we have a field of parsnips that have self-sown or volunteered. Here's some of them. Yeah, all over that place. And then there's a few sticking up here and there as well. Before deciding to use these parsnips leaves in the celery salt, well, I guess that's what it's normally containing, the herb salt, I googled to see if you can eat the parsnip leaves, and I found out that they're part of a family with very, very toxic plants, like lethal toxic, I think. Parsnips are not lethal, but apparently if you get the juice of the leaves on your skin, that can cause quite severe burns on your skin if it's exposed to the sun. Just in case, I have no experience with this, but in case you decide to use parsnip leaves for your herb salt, please note that I have mentioned this. I think that's all we'll need for now. There was something else I was going to put in here as well. Kishkål. I don't know what that's called in English, but I can look that up. So weed brought to Sweden by some stupid monk, as these things go. He thought it was a good kitchen garden plant, which it is. But yeah, it's a very invasive species, so it's basically taking over Sweden. And we have our own little patch. Hi. Hey guys. Down by the greenhouse now. That just happened without me realizing. The light is always very good in here, I think. Perfect shade. Here's the status of the summer flowers currently. They're growing well, slowly as I intended. Here's some leftover kales that I didn't plant out because I wanted just a little backup in case of slugs or freeze or something. And here are the zinnias. A bit sweaty from carrying her around in the sun actually, even though it's not super warm. Now I have this jar full of, I mean, normally I would do this in a blender, but my baby is very scared of the blender, so I'm gonna do it with a, what do you call it? One of those, well, I'll show you. Maybe you call this a blender too, I don't know. So the trick here is that you don't dry the herbs first. You use them fresh with the salt. I thought it was going to work with this. Not so sure anymore. I'll do something that's going to make it take a longer time, but make it easier since I can't use the blender, and that is to add some water. I'm gonna dry everything in the oven anyway, so ska du hjälpa till? Good idea. Ska du hjälpa till? Now it's time to add the salt. What you do is basically you turn it into green goo as fine as possible. Add salt. I use fine salt because it's just easier and better. Blend everything, spread it out as thinly as possible on a tray. Like you want as big a surface as possible. Then put it in the oven on like between 50 and 100 degrees Celsius, I would say. And just run it until all the water has evaporated and it's dry. You might have to like stir it around every now and then just to dissolve any clumps and just to make sure that all the water gets out. But that's it. This is how you get green herb salt that actually tastes of herbs. It's not by mixing dry salt with dried herbs, that's just dried salt with dried herbs. This This is gonna be really good herb salt. We are going out to provide Joni with some lunch. He just came home with the wood. Hello. Hi.
Fiddling. Could actually do with reading the instructions.
This is a banana in my pocket.
Are you just pleased to see me?
I am also. Oj. Siggy. 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 More inspection. Siggy. I don't know. We'll have to make sure Siggy is not in the van when you go.
Yeah.
You making sense of it.
Slowly, surely.
It's gonna be so exciting. And the ever-present pile of twigs.
I'm glad you're filming all this. Please edit it out.
One of my favorite views. Cosmos, some coriander, which could also go out in the garden now, some lettuce, and in the empty modules I've sown sunflowers. And now, as of yesterday, I think I have pretty much sown all the seeds I'm going to sow this year. The last ones were the beans. 2 types of pole beans, 1 type of bush bean, I guess you call them, and 1 type of runner beans. And the day before that, or a couple of days before that maybe, I sowed squash, winter squash, summer squash, and cucumber. And that's it. Ooh! Holy crap!
It suddenly got very frightening.
Why?
Well, just suddenly realising that there's so much tension, possibly. Ziggy very wise to just like it.
Yeah, well... Holy crap. Are you sure it's not gonna hit the pulley hooky off?
Oh yeah. I'd be surprised.
If it hits it or if it breaks it off?
It will hit it.
Okay.
So I mean the pallet would have to almost go immediately. Are all my bits still attached to the...
It smells so good. Oj.
Sorry, I got to make dad noises.
Of course.
It's part of the contract. Like it's already taking the insulation.
Oh. Do you want to put some like old board there?
That would probably work actually, yeah.
Yeah, that's maybe
That would work.
Here we go.
I like the smoke.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. It's very dramatic. Okej, vi är klara här nu.
Yeah.
So we're planning the move. Originally, the plan was to... There's a blackbird hopping around in the leaves. Yeah, originally the plan was to move to, well, wherever we're going, like the farm or the homestead or the place that we want from here. And that's also the reason that we haven't done it yet, because we've always bumped against the unanswerable question of how do we get a mortgage if the bank demands that we have like long-term stable employment in the place where we're getting the mortgage, if that makes sense. Because obviously we can't, you know, have a stable long-term job in a place before we move there. So this has always been one of those, like, I will just have to figure it out later, and then months have passed and then we start talking about it again, and it's again been like, how do people even do this? And I don't know what it's like in other countries, but here in Sweden apparently the banks have that demand. And now, well, so yeah, up until recently the plan was to bring the chickens with us when we move, because we're planning on moving to a farm place, so we want to continue having chickens, and that was always the plan. But now we have decided to rent at first in the place we're moving to. We're gonna rent a place somewhere outside of Stockholm, probably in the countryside, quite a bit away from Stockholm. And once we're in that location we can, you know, drive around looking at places, looking at houses, feeling into different areas and see how we feel about different areas and stuff like that. And then once we know where we want to be and we find a place, then we can buy our farm. And that makes so much more sense in a logistical sense. But obviously we don't know if we'll be renting a place where we can bring our chickens, so right now it looks like we're gonna have to get rid of the chickens before we move. And that's okay, like, it's gonna be sad. One of the chickens is still from the first flock that we got several years ago. She's my favorite hen of all times, and it'll be sad to lose them, but I'm okay with it if that's what it takes for us to make this move. But yeah, so that's why we don't want to have more chicks this year. It's like we want to keep the amount limited, even if we would like to have more eggs and stuff. But that's also what I wanted to talk about. I didn't mean to talk about chickens, really. I went to my favorite cafe today. It's about half an hour's drive away from home. Should film from there sometime. It's an absolutely amazing place. And on my way home from there, I really felt that we're leaving. I've had those moments before a few times, but I mean, I've wanted to make this move for many years now. It's been a dream of mine to move to a homestead or a farm and build the life that we are dreaming about. And it's been so long, I think, that I've gotten used to just having it as a dream and something that's almost unattainable and never going to happen, because it's always been like, it's not possible now, we'll have to wait, we'll do it later, we'll see, blah 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 blah. So it's turned into this fantasy, I guess, and on some level I've started feeling that it's just never gonna happen. I'm just gonna keep fantasizing about this forever. But now it feels like we have a very solid plan and we're taking steps moving forward, so we know kind of how we're going to do it now. And there's really no reason anymore why it wouldn't happen in the time frame that we've set up now. And it's just suddenly starting to become more real. And it's weird in a way, because during these years I've felt so much frustration about it not happening. I've felt so stuck, and I've felt like put into a tiny box and, you know, not allowed to do what I'm supposed to do and live the life that I know is possible. I felt very held back, and I felt quite desperate to move. I felt desperate to leave this place. I felt a lot of frustration about the place we live, about the limitations of it, just, you know, size-wise, and its location, and also just the environment. We're surrounded by woods, not wood, forest. We live in the middle of the forest, and I've never lived in a forest before, and so I didn't know what that would feel like, and now I know that that's not for me. I feel almost claustrophobic, and it's very wet and damp and dark, and it's just like my soul longs for open landscapes and seeing the horizon and just having this like this space and air and openness. My family is from a place like that, so I think that's somehow in my bones. But yeah, I've felt stuck and frustrated and angry sometimes and resentful and all of that. And I have thought many times over these years, when I've felt this frustration and just felt like, can we just please move? I need to move. I just need to leave this place. And I've thought to myself, I think there's something to learn here. I think there's a lesson that I need to learn in this place. And I think that when I no longer feel that desperation, and when I no longer feel like I need to leave this place and replace it for something new and run away to something else, when I feel kind of rooted and calm and content here, that's when it's going to be time to move. Because this flight behavior has been a thing for me my whole life, for as long as I can remember. Not just in like places where I live, but relationships, jobs, interests, whatever. It's just been a thing that I find something new and leave the old behind, and I just like replace stuff, and I'm very restless, I guess, and rootless in many ways. And I've just felt very strongly that this is this is going to be the medicine that I will have here. And there's a purpose with that. And today it really hit me that that's precisely what's happened. Up until a daughter was born in July last year, 2024, I have felt quite like there's not really anything keeping me here. Like, I don't have any roots here, I don't have family here. I have a job, but I am quite desperate to leave that job for many reasons. And I don't have many friends. Like, I haven't had many friends for a very long time. And I felt quite lonely, and I felt like, yeah, there's nothing... I don't have roots here. But just in the recent months, I've started feeling like I do have roots, and I do feel home. And I have new friendships now, since becoming a mum. I thought it was going to be the other way around. People talk about how you just lose all friends when you have kids. For me, it was very much the opposite. My social life has just exploded since she was born. And I felt on the way home today from that cafe on the drive. It's a beautiful drive through forest and rural landscapes and farm places and lakes. It's really, really gorgeous. And I just started feeling this deep grief and a sense of foreboding loss. Or foreboding loss, is that the word? Imminent loss. Like a loss that I haven't experienced yet, but I'm about to. A feeling of everything that I will be leaving. And I just looked around me on this drive. I looked out the window of the car and, saw that lake and those little trees on the side there, and thought about that favorite cafe that I just left, and I just felt like I will miss that lake. I'll miss these trees, and I will definitely miss that cafe and that whole place where that cafe is. It's really a favorite spot of mine. And then it just kept going, and I will miss our neighbors here. We have absolutely wonderful neighbors. I'll miss our garden. I'll miss our house, especially since we're not going to move to our dream home. We're not going to move to a farm or a homestead. We're going to move to some rental place that I don't know where that will be, and it's not going to be like a real home. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be a quite emotionally turbulent time, the move. I think there might be feelings of regret and feeling like, why did we give up what we had? We had so much. We had friends and neighbors and a beautiful home, and I had my garden, and we had the chickens, and yeah, we had friends close by in the nearest town, and we had all these things, and now we have nothing, and we're, rootless and lost. That's what I imagine. Where it's just one of those things I think might come up. But I think this has been important for my self-image as well, and I guess that's what I mean about the medicine of this process. Because I've started seeing myself as someone who leaves things and never stays and never, sees things through to the end. Someone who burns bridges and is rootless on a fundamental level, and I think it is and has been and will be invaluable for me to shed that idea of myself, because it's false. I have had many experiences like that, and I've had maybe patterns of that nature, but it's not who I am at my innermost core. So thinking of myself as I am this is a flaw in me, is just not true. And I think I'm starting to realize that that's not the case, because I said that I do feel home here now. And there's a part of me that starts dreading the move and starts feeling like, are we greedy? Are we trying to have too much? Why can't we just be content with what we have? We have loads. Now I just noticed that my memory card is about to be full, so I think I'll have to cut it short here, but I guess I've said what I wanted to say. And I also want to say that I think there is, I want to be here for these feelings. I want to soak up every drop of this experience as it moves through me, and taste it and feel it and look at it and grieve and feel that loss and feel the gratitude for everything I have and everything I experience here. And just, yeah, I don't want to rush through that, and I don't want to suppress it, and I don't want to pretend like it's not there. It's okay to feel that grief, it's okay to feel that loss. And I do think it's worth it. I think there are things that we have to give up. I think there are sacrifices that have to be made if we want to really follow our dreams. And this is it, I guess. And I'm grateful for that, because it means that I care about things, and it means that I've made connections and friendships that mean something to me and that are valuable. And of course, my friendships, I'll still stay friends with those friends, but they won't be as close. And there are places and people I will not see or meet again, I'm sure. It's one of those things you always say, like, let's keep in touch, and, we'll see, we'll come visit every year. And then you don't. And I know it's gonna be like that. There are many things that I will miss, and I'll think back on those things in this time with lots of love, I think. And that's beautiful. So, yeah, I'm glad. Now I'm gonna take the peas and tomatoes back in the cellar and go back into Johnny and have a nice cup of tea and go to bed. See you next time.